Hey guys, Warrior Pax here, back at you again with another video, and today we're gonna be showing you how to build this guy right here, Toa Raitoningu Self-MOC. So, with that said, let's get started with the legs. So, here are the pieces you'll need for the legs. Pause the video right now if you need to gather any of your pieces. Don't mind any of this stuff over here. Anyways, that's it, let's get started. So, you're going to take your Paraka foot, and this is the one that came on Thok, I believe, Paraka Thok, and you're going to want 2 axle pins in the pinholes. The pin parts of the axle pins in the pinholes. That's a tongue twister. Anyways, you're going to want to put your Makuta hand connector on the top peg there of the Paraka foot. And you're going to want to take one of these pieces. I don't know the actual name for them. You can scream at me in the comments for it. And you're going to put this on the axles for the axle pins. Then there's your foot. For the lower leg, you're going to want a Rakshi leg piece. I think that's what these are called. And then the Borak eyes with the axle pin going into it. So you're going to take this, going to stick it in the top pinhole on this side, so kind of fills in the little gap there. Then snap it on. There's your lower leg all done. Now for the upper leg, you're going to take your bionicle upper leg piece. Don't know the actual name for it, leave me alone. And you're gonna, for the armor, you're gonna want, sorry about that, the phone rang. Anyways, for the armor plating on the front, you're gonna want, if I can get it apart, there we go. You're gonna want the Paraka upper leg armor. You're going to want an Exoforce robot claw hand piece with a gold barb attached to it, a pearl gold small barb. You can use a big barb if you want, but I don't think that'll work. And you slide the Exoforce claw hand, robot claw, into the top hole of the Paraka armor. So you have that. That's what you want to look like. Then you take your bionicle arm leg piece, put it there, the center hole, put on the armor, and there's that. And this is optional, you don't have to put this in, but you're gonna want, for me, I use this little assembly. If you don't know what it is, it's a lamp holder, a stud, or a couple of studs, one with a hole through them, a lightsaber handle, a little gold side piece going into the bottom, and on the back, I had, if I can get it, it's one of those 1x1 round tiles with the little peg for minifigures to hold on to. Anyways, take that, put it there. If you went to make it, and then you snap that on there. And obviously there's 2 of them, and they're mirrored, so there's your legs done. So now, let's get on with the arms. So here are the pieces you'll need for the arms. Again, pause the video now if you need to grab any parts. And with that said, let's begin. So, we'll start with the hand. It's pretty simple. So you're going to take a Makuta hand connector. You're going to take this little assembly right here, one of these little pieces, and a 2-length axle. Stick that into what will be the bottom of your hand, where Mock will be holding like swords and guns and whatnot. Then, depending on if you want the hand to be a lefty or righty, you're going to want this little assembly. It's a 1x2 brick with the axle hole through it, and 2 1x2 plates on either side. And depending on if you want it to be a lefty or a righty, you're going to put it in through one of the sides. Like here would be a righty, and obviously here will be a lefty. This will be a lefty. For the thumb, you're going to want a T-bar piece with one of these little elements attached to it. I don't know what the name of them are. Again, scream at me in the comments. So you put that into what will be at the top of your hand, and there's your thumb. For the other fingers, it's going to be one of these 1x2 plates with the bars, with 3 of the Exoforce robot hands, or robot arms, or whatever, attached to them, with a 1x2 jumper plate attached onto the plate itself, or jumper plate attached to the normal plate, and a 1x1 round tile attached to the jumper plate. So you take what will be your fingers, attach them to the studs on the plate of the rest of the hand, and keep in mind you want the studs facing out. So if you don't have those facing out, you're doing it wrong. So anyways, I can get it good. There's your hand. Now for the forearm, or the lower arm, if you want to call it like that. So you'll have this assembly. It's 3 Makuta hand connectors, a 4-length axle with a stopper, a ball joint, and a 2-length axle. And keep in mind, these 2-length axles don't have to be black. You can use the red ones if you want. I just use black because that's easier for me. So you'll take this, and you'll take one of these little assemblies, which are basically just that. So you'll take this. It doesn't matter what side you have them on. I like it facing this way though. You'll put it on the 2-length axle, and you want these facing outwards. You want the studs on the hand facing forwards, you want these facing outwards, if that makes sense. For what will be the elbow joint, you'll want this little assembly here. It's a mod hand connector if you couldn't figure that out. But you'll want all this, and you'll place it like that, and there's your forearm done. For the upper arm, hold on a sec. For the upper arm, very, very simple. You want one of these CCBS bones with the 1 axis. It doesn't have to be the one with like the 1 pinhole. You can just have one without any pinholes if you want to. CCBS armor shell with the Ninjago blade pieces. I never know what these are called. Again, scream at me in the comments. And there's your upper arm all done. And place them together. If I don't break anything. There are a couple of broken pieces. You don't have to use broken pieces if you don't want to. So there's that. So don't go out of your way breaking pieces just for the sake of it. And there's an arm all done. They're obviously mirrored. So there's your arms all done. Now let's get on with the torso and the head. Alrighty, here's the parts for the torso and head. Again, pause the video now if you need to gather any parts. With that said, let's begin. So for the base of the torso, you're going to take one of these CCBS torso frames, and you're going to want a Technic half pin right in that hole. Right in that specific hole. and you're going to see why in a second. So, we'll take this for the chest piece. This is 2 Borak eyes attached to a T-bar piece attached to the top hole of a Hero Factory Brain Attack armor shell, or torso armor shell. And on the little bars, little clip places, you're going to want these Exoforce arms going like that. And you don't have to use like little gems or whatnot if you don't want to. I'm just doing this because it looks cooler in my opinion. So, with that said, take this, and as you can see, this is the little lightsaber rod I almost forgot to mention. It's going into the bottom armor peg hole right there. As you can see, that'll go into the Technic half pin, while the armor shell itself will be clipping onto the ball joint there. That's to help keep it from wiggling around. So you're going to take one of these pieces, or one of these little assemblies. It's a 1x3 Technic lift arm with 2 3-length pins going through the 2 holes. As always, cat or not included. Get out of here. Anyways, take these, or take this, put it there, and you should have the lightsaber rod poking out of, or peeking out of the center hole. Now, before we put on the back armor, which is just a Hordika foot, by the way, we'll do the shoulder armor. So, and these are mirrored, by the way, these shoulder armor pieces. What you're going to do is you're going to take one of these little pieces, these angle 1 Technic connectors, one of these assemblies, which is a 3 length axle with stopper, or axles with stoppers, ball joint, and I use 2 half bushings. You can just use a normal bushing if you want. I just feel like that's more secure for me. Anyways, you slide that down like that. And if you don't know where a good spot to get them, it would be look up the Ninjago movie set with Kai and Zane with the little garment on dummy. Look up that one. There's a couple there. Anyways, take a gold CCBS size 3, I believe, armor shell. Put that onto the ball joint. Put one of these little TMNT shredder claw pieces. And you're going to want these straightened out. Obviously, you're going to want them mirrored, if you don't drop them like a goof, like I just did there. Anyways, you take these, and right there, right on these pinholes, either side of this assembly, you're going to want these. You're going to want to attach them so that the little claw piece is facing up. So, there's that. And then, put on the back armor. Just the Hordika foot. Then there you go. That's the torso. And for the head, simple as hell. It's just a Bionicle G2 head with a half bushing wedged in there to lock the little mask flinging function. And your mask, this doesn't have to be the Mask of Stone or the Golden Mask of Stone. You can use any mask you want. In the story, it's supposed to be a 2015 How, 2015 Gold How, and the eyes are supposed to be blue instead of green. So take that into account when you're making this. I would assume you are. Put that in, and then that's it. Then we put them all together, and then finally we'll work on the sword. Alrighty, so here we go. Put the legs on the leg joints. Make sure this doesn't come off on accident. There we go. This leg's attached. The arm's on the arm joints. Obviously, raise the camera because this is getting tall very fast. And then put the head on if he doesn't collapse under his own weight. Now, there's the base figure all done. So now, we'll move on to the sword. Ukami. So, here are the pieces you'll need for the sword Ukami. Again, pause the video now if you need to gather any of the pieces. So, with that said, let's begin. We'll start from the pommel of the sword up. So, for that, you're going to want this assembly, which is 2 of these 2x2 tiles. I'm using pearl gold ones. An angle 1 Technic connector. Want to make sure that's straight and that it doesn't fall apart on you. So there we go. You're gonna want it like that. And because I decided why not, I used 2 trans blue studs on like this part right here where my finger was. So there's the pommel of the sword. Now for the rest of the handle, you're gonna want 2 length axles. It doesn't matter what color they are because they're gonna be covered up anyways. One of these little axle extenders right there. Then there's the handle. Now, for the body of the sword, for the rest of the sword, you're going to want to take a Zamor launcher body. You're going to want to take 2 of these little T-bar pieces and 4 of these little like claw pieces that came out in the Chima sets. You're going to want to attach those there, the 2 side axle holes, and then you're going to take a 5 long axle. Yes, this is 5 long. Take an axle extender, take one of these little sword pieces. They came out in 2008 with Liwa and Takanuva. That's where I got mine, Takanuva. And then you're going to want to take this little half bushing, slide it down, then you're going to want to make sure that all of this fits together. And this is what that half bushing is for, to keep it from wobbling about. So when you're putting this together, you're going to want to make sure that this half bushing is pushed down against the Zamor launcher body. Zamor launcher's body as far back as you can. As far back as you can. As far back as you can get it. Jeez. And then take the pommel, put it there, and there's your sword. There's Ukami. And for the sake of connecting it to the hand, you're obviously going to want a little Technic 2-length pin. So let's bring in Raitoningu, and then for the sword to connect, take the little pin there, put it in the pinhole there, in the bottom of his hand, and then wrap his fingers around it, and then there you go. So what did you think of this video? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and sometime later I will do another how to build on one of my Makuta characters. So, with that said, I'll leave it here, and Let you build. Happy building. Bye.